Welcome to Eating Plebian. For our dish tonight, we have a first for us. We have a by request, and that is chicken parmesan. I'm going to be going through the steps to be making the chicken parmesan, not just in the slapdash manner, like, just getting a couple of pieces of chicken and some store-bought sauce. I'm going to make it just a little bit nicer. We're going to be making our own sauce from San Marzano tomatoes. I'll be showing you that process as well. And we'll be breading, obviously, the chicken and just going through the whole thing. This is a really, really tasty recipe. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started by moving on to the ingredients. On the ingredient side, we've got the San Marzano tomatoes in a can here. I can only get these things in the full tomato form. I can't get them crushed or anything else, and I'm thinking that's possibly the way it is just about everywhere. The reason why, I don't know. You'd have to talk to some import-export manufacturer or something like that. Couldn't tell you. I have here a rind of Parmesan. I'll be showing you what I'm going to be doing with that. A little surprising. I've got one shallot. I've got five cloves of garlic. I've got half of a yellow onion. These have all been minced small, by the way. I like smaller cuts in my sauces. I have a half teaspoon each of Italian seasoning and oregano, a half teaspoon of kosher salt, and I've got 8 to 12 leaves of basil that I have given a chiffonade cut, and of course, the ever-present iced tea. Over on the chicken side, I have 2 large chicken breasts. I will be slicing those in half. A cup of general purpose flour. That will be for the initial dredge. I have a half cup of freshly shredded up Parmesan cheese. That's where that rind came from. A half a cup of good olive oil. 2 eggs in a bowl. That'll be getting ready also for the second portion of the dredge. 1 teaspoon of kosher salt for this side. 1 cup of breadcrumbs, and that will be for the last portion of the dredge. And for the spaghetti side, I've got, obviously, spaghetti right there. About 4 to 5 liters of water, salted and on its way toward boiling. All right, let's get started on the sauce. Moving forward with our tomato sauce, our marinara here, I've had this heating up for just a couple of minutes, and I'm going to take my half cup of olive oil. I'm going to place it inside there. You can tell that's really good, rich olive oil, too, because of that golden color. And I'm going to start off with my shallots and my onions. So I'm just going to place these on in. You might wonder why I'm using so much oil here. The oil does a great job of dealing with the acidity of the tomatoes. And also it makes it that really velvety sauce here. So this is not in here just for the onions. This is in here for the sauce itself. If you've ever had even decent homemade sauce, you know that it really just doesn't ever compare with something store-bought. You can spend a whole lot of money on store-bought sauces, but even just with a little bit of love and a little bit of time, your homemade marinara is likely going to be better almost every time. Probably save some money in the process as well. So I'm going to let these go for about 2 to 3 minutes. I will be right back. Okay, it's been a couple of minutes, and we're starting to see some translucency here for the onions. I'm going to add in my garlic. I don't like adding garlic in first. It can burn really, really easily. So there we are, and we're just going to give that another 30 seconds or so. We just want it to become fragrant. Then we know that it's activated, the heat is on it, and it is ready to go. In the process of that cooking, there's no reason I can't put in my half teaspoon of salt and my oregano and my Italian seasoning. So right into the mix that goes. Yeah, and I'm starting to smell that garlic, so we know that we're about the point we want to be. So I'm going to drop my heat down a little bit and go for my San Marzano tomatoes, and I'm going to put these in. I hope you can find these where you are. And I'm going to stir these up a little bit to take the heat off of the onions to cool that down. Awesome. And now, I could have dealt with this in various separate ways, but I happen to have this. I was given it, actually, a long time ago, and I really have never used it but once. And so I'm going to use my immersion blender here to go ahead and take care of these whole San Marzano tomatoes. Yeah, that's thrown everywhere, but by God, it's working. Ah! I think that's about as far with it as we need to go. And now I need to clean my cooktop. Fantastic. All right, that was kind of expected. Let me set this here for just a moment because I've got something else that I need to do, and that is to show you this little thing right here. Now, I shaved off some Parmesan cheese earlier. This is the rind toward the outside. And here's a little trick that they teach you. We're just going to throw that in and let it simmer along with the rest of the marinara sauce. Anyways, we're going to let this go for a couple of minutes. I'll be right back. Now that we've taken care of some sudden unscheduled cleaning, I am going to take care of these chicken breasts. Now, we want to have these things in nice little thinner cutlets so they go well in the fry pan. But anyhow, I'm going to take these, and I don't know if any of you caught a recipe video that I did just a couple of days ago, but I was similarly having to take care of cutting these things in half thickness wise. And so we're doing exactly the same thing again. If you've guessed that chicken and poultry is my wife's favorite protein, you'd be absolutely correct. So there we go. That one's a little thicker than that one, but we're going to be fine. So I'm going to stick that one there, do the same thing, go right through the middle. I'm holding it down with the pressure of my palm. Please do not cut yourself, but just make sure that you keep your knife parallel to the plane of the cutting board as you go through. And there we are. These are some good looking chicken breasts. I'm not going to flatten them like I did before, but it's going to make it a lot easier to handle the breading situation and how quickly they cook. Did a little bit of moving around, and although we're putting some salt and pepper obviously into the breading and the dredges, I'm still going to give just a little bit the once over for each of these, because direct application just seems to work a whole lot better than hoping that it stays on inside of the breading in the frying pan. We don't have to be super accurate here, obviously. This is not rocket science, because if these things take off, I'm in trouble anyway. So rockets, no bueno. A little more. There we go. Okay. Now I also need some pepper. I collect pepper mills. It's just a thing that I do. I don't know why. So hold that there. That one's a little thinner. I'll have to wipe down this pepper mill after having touched it with raw poultry, because we want to eliminate the possibility of cross-contamination. Please be safe when you are making your food. I'll be probably hitting this with a bleach wipe. All right. That's taken care of for the moment. I'm going to set this here because we need to take the flour dredge. We're going to add that teaspoon of salt, more pepper. Seems extravagant, doesn't it? Yeah, that's about right. Get it combined in. Hey, look, it all disappeared. That happens. I'm going to take the breadcrumbs. These are Italian flavored. You can use plain as well. And I'm going to put that Parmesan cheese right into it. And going to mix that around. This will be the final dredge. And we've got eggs. And a mess. Yes, that's me. We've got those in there. I'm grabbing a fork real quick because I want to whip these up. We are not making breakfast here. I'm also going to turn on my skillet. That would be useful, wouldn't it? All right. That is all ready to go. So let's give it just a minute for the skillet to heat up, and we'll get the production line going. Our pan is now heated up enough, so I'm going to take some of our chicken. I'm going to do an initial dredge over here in the flour. It doesn't have to be on here hard. This is just an intermediate layer to make sure that the egg yolk for the egg drench, and then finally the breadcrumbs and cheese will stick to it appropriately well. So we put that in. We want this done right, obviously. Set that in there. We'll cover with a bit once or twice. There we go. And lastly, I'm going to put some light olive oil in here, about 3 to 4 tablespoons. It's a rather large skillet, so there we are. I'm probably going to end up doing 2 of these at a time so I don't overcrowd the pan. Heat management is a very important aspect of cooking. I keep saying it in recipe after recipe. That's like one thing that really separates off just cooking something at home to being a home cook. So we'll place that in there. We want it nice and covered. And this goes on in. All right, so now we're just going to wait a couple of minutes for this to get browned up. We are going to be finishing these off in the oven. So we don't have to worry about temperatures on the inside yet. All right, it's only been 2 or 3 minutes per side, but you can see how wonderful these things look. Now, they're not fully cooked all the way through, so I'm going to add them to my baking dish. I've got these foil lined because I simply just don't like dealing with having to scrub everything out. There we are, and now I'm going to do the other 2. Both of these are a little bit smaller and should brown up in roughly the same amount of time. So knock off the excess. Go for the egg. Doesn't need to be on there hard. into the outer breading. And I think we have enough oil left in the pan where I'm not going to have to add any more. But I want to get it in there quick before the pan gets too hot without something to cook. This mass increases the thermal mass, and therefore it doesn't heat up as quick when you have food in it. You can overheat and burn a pan real fast when there's nothing in it. So there we are. This one's a little gangly, but all right. And into the breadcrumbs and Parmesan. There we are. We'll be back in a minute. It seems like these are ready also to join their compatriots over here. So I'm going to get that wedged in. I'm going to have a little bit of overlap of some of these pieces, but it's not much, and it's also just the very thin parts that are there. So I don't think it's going to affect the safety of our cooking at all. I have a wireless thermometer in here, and that's inserted into the thickest part of the thickest breast. We're going to toss it in the oven here at 350. I suspect it's going to take between 15 and 25 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to turn off this burner, scoot some things around a little bit because I want to check on our sauce. Yep, looks good to me. And we're going to get that in. And it is coming along nicely. All right. Check back with you shortly. Okay, we've hit 165 degrees, actually 170. That didn't take long. That took about 12 minutes. So we're going to pull this out of the oven, take a look at it, because looking is, of course, the definitive thing to do. There we are. And we've got our sauce over here. I've been stirring occasionally, and it's been reducing down. That looks fantastic. So what I am going to do is I am going to finish this off by taking a ladle, putting an amount of the sauce on the chicken. Just before I went back onto the camera here, I did taste the sauce to make sure that it is where we want it to be. It is. Didn't need to adjust it with anything like additional salt or pepper. And I'm going to put some Parmesan cheese on top. And while I'm putting that there, I'm actually also going to change my oven settings over to broil. We don't need to do any additional cooking, but we do want to get the cheese all taken care of. And while it's in there, I'm going to put my spaghetti into the pot. You can see it's steaming away back there. All right, there we are. I think I can also pull the thermometer out. There we go. And I'm going to place this back into the oven. The cooking time on this particular pasta is 7 minutes, so we'll have to watch it pretty closely. And give it a couple of seconds for the stuff to get flexible enough to lay down into the pot. This has been simmering along real well and is nearly complete. I'm sure it actually is complete, but I'm going to pull out the chunk of Parmesan rind. Save as much as I can. There we are. A little floppy. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn this off. It is quite hot with all the oil that is inside of this sauce. It's going to retain its heat pretty well. And that'll be enough to separately sauce the pasta. Going to cover this up. Give this a bit of a stir. And I'm going to set my watch, or at least a timer, for 7 minutes on this, stirring occasionally and also checking on the chicken. Be back in just a few. And now it's about time to plate up. One of the last things I want to do is I want to take my basil, and I'm going to put this in here and mix it around a little bit. I didn't want to cook the basil down. I just wanted to add a little bit of freshness. So I'm going to put that in, stir it around a bit, and I also wanted it nice and green. So it's one of the reasons I tend to wait on certain types of herbs when I put it into sauces and things that are cooked. So I've got that here. I am going to give you a look of this this chicken Parmesan. Looks absolutely fantastic. So maybe a little bit heavy on the broiler, but it's all right. So I'm going to take some of the spaghetti and place that on there. Just like that. My wife doesn't eat much. Smaller portion. I'm going to put this on. And I've got some more Parmesan over there if they would like to add to it. The chicken, obviously. I'm going to go for the smaller one here. Right there. And also a piece of baguette. Because you have to. And there we go. What we have now is chicken Parmesan. The way we make it here, one of the best ways that I know how to make it without getting completely ensconced in certain other preparations like the skillet finishing, that sort of thing. So I want to say thanks for you visiting with us here at Eating Plebian once again. And our Parmesan, we're just about to dive in. It's dinner time. You know how we operate here. I want to also suggest that if you like this content, please go ahead and hit that like button. And if you really like it, hit the subscribe. It helps me put my content, as I'm sure that you've heard many times before, out in front of other people. And I would really like to be able to get them eating at home instead of spending huge amounts of money at restaurants or trying to get takeout. This is one of the best ways to keep your family together, motivated, and involved in each other's lives. Thanks very much.